Okay, so how do you access this these materials in Canvas? So I'm loading one of those StudyForge lessons, and let's see, loading a new window, and there's the lessons, and this is like attending class, going to a lecture, and whatever, you listen to the professor talk, and then you can, bunch of text to read, and then you've got these exercises, and these exercises are, like they said, practice questions. So, and you can print them so you can work them on them offline if you want, or whatever. And these are not graded. These are just like homework where you're going to get some practice. Okay, and try to do them. You should do them. Some of the lessons might be too easy, so you don't have to do them, but this is where you get into practice. If you were sitting in my classroom, I would expect you to do the practice. Okay? Once you've walked through the lesson and you think you've got it all done, what you can do is go back to Canvas and click on modules, and this is what? Some common functions. So this is an old module 1 that you guys didn't have to do. It was a pre-calc review. And we don't have time to really do that. So you see now this is the quiz, and this is part of your graded quiz. So you're going to click on that. It looks a little different because I can't do this in student mode. I'm doing it in teacher mode. So you'll take the quiz, and then you're going to see it. So what's the domain of this function? Well, I know that I would do this on paper, and I would say, well, let's see, 9 minus x has to be greater than or equal to 0, right? In fact, let me get a pen. Maybe I can do this because somebody might be confused on what this means. Let's see, here. Working? Oh, yes. Let me come up and get something I can pen to write with. There. So remember, when you're trying to find the domain of a square root function, we can't take the square root of a negative number, but we can take the square root of 0. So I set up what's underneath the radical greater than or equal to 0, and I solved this for x. I subtract both 9 from both sides, divide by -1, which reverses this direction of inequality. So x has to be less than or equal to 9, and of course that's that answer. So let's see if I can't check it and see if I get it right eventually. I'm going to clear this. And then this says, use a graph of f to estimate the local maximum minimum. Remember, local maximum minimums are where you look where the peaks and the valleys are. This almost looks like this is, okay, so this will be a maximum. Now, do they tell us the domain of here? Well, let's see here. The local maximum, that is a maximum, as long as that's a function. There's a minimum at 0, 0, except that would fail the vertical line test. And pi 0 is not a minimum. That's right there in the middle. Okay, so that one's out. There's a local maximum pi over, yes, I would agree that's a maximum. And that does have a local maximum, a local minimum right there. Let's see, what else? What other choices do they have? Oh, that's correct, that's a maximum. And pi over 2 is a maximum. And 0, 0 is a minimum. Well, as long as it's, again, I got concerns about that vertical line test. And 3, so that's, both of these are a possibility. Maximum is 0, 0. No, that's out. That's not a maximum, that's a minimum. So I guess I'm a little torn. I don't know if it's this one or pi 0. So that's a possible. This is a definite. This one, oops, this one here is a definite. If that is a max, that's a min. this is questionable right here. Actually, that right, the 0, 0 wouldn't be a minimum. So you know what? I'm just gonna go with that one. I think I like that answer better now that I've talked my way through it. Determine algebraically whether this function's even, odd, or neither. So what you got to remember there is that if the function's even, if I substitute in a negative x, I get the same function back out, like x squared, right? That's an even function because if x equals 1, y is 1. If x equals negative 1, y is also 1. So that's an even function. If it's an odd function, I get some sign change going on, like x cubed, right? So for this one, I'm going to drop in f of negative x into 2 over negative x squared. And of course, when you square in negative, it turns positive. So I'm going to get the exact same thing out. So I believe that that is an even function. Then the vertical asymptotes of this are where the denominator is equal to 0 and there's not a common factor. So I'm going to factor that denominator. Numerator is already factored. So x plus 2, x minus 2 is how that x squared minus 4 factors. And that, of course, is equal to 0 at negative 2 and at positive 2. And the numerators are where the zeros are. And since there's no common factors, none of these are wholes. So the correct answer for that is that one. That's where the, whoops, let me see if I can. Okay. Then once you've answered all your questions, if you click Submit Quiz, the grade should be recorded. And of course, I don't know, here's my current score, 4 out of 4. And that is what I'll see on my side of it. So I don't, got to make sure you follow those steps of submitting the quiz. So you've got the StudyForge work that isn't graded, but you've got to do it or you won't master the material. And then you get these homework quizzes. Okay, so I hope that helps you learn what to do in using these materials.